All right, Jason here from newtonswave.com, and what I'm about to show you will change the way that you trade forever, and it will make you a lot of money. So let's get straight into this. Now, whether you've been trading a short time or a long time, you're obviously familiar with the candlestick pattern. Now, everyone trades the candlesticks, whether you're using Fibonacci, whether you're using different tools, whether you use line graphs, whatever, or charts, whatever you use, right? Everyone bases everything on the lows and the highs, right, of the candlestick pattern. So here we go. Now, I call this candlestick pattern the candlestick shadow. Why? Because it is only a shadow. Traditionally, many people believe, and many are people taught, that if there's lots of buyers, right, who are buying crypto or shares, that's what actually causes the price to move in an upward fashion and to go higher. When lots of people sell, traditionally you're taught that this causes the price to turn and come down, and the more people that sell, the lower it will go. It is rubbish. 99% of that traditional method is taught on the internet. You won't find anything else on the internet like what I'm about to show you, because this is a recent discovery by scientists. There is a force behind the candlestick price shadow. Let me show you what it is. It's actually a sine wave. Full stop. Now, if you think about it, right, there's radio waves, there's sound waves, there's gamma waves, there's all kind of waves. Now, behind the waves on the ocean, there's gravity. So there's a force behind everything, light waves. Now, Isaac Newton, in examining and studying light waves, he used a prism to see them. Scientists recently have discovered this wave, this particular sine wave, which they called Newton's wave, is behind price movement. Okay, so that's number one. Now, number two, the beauty about sine waves is that you can count the peaks, on particularly on this particular wave, right, and get your timing in exactly on your entry and your exit points. Let me give you an example, right? So here we've got SHIB USDT. So I'm giving you a historic example. It works live and it works historically, but I'm showing you historically with a couple of tickers now to show you something that will blow you away. So this is how I trade. I trade on the day or the week or the macro time level. Why? Because it's where you get the biggest rises. So instead of chasing 15% a day or 15% a week, you can actually make 100 to 500 to 1,000% gains over a week or two. So let me show you how this works. So you'll notice right here on Newton's wave, you've got some peaks. You've got one there, you've got one there, look, and you've got one here. All right, so those arrows aren't very good, so what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to do this. I'm actually going to use this. So look, this is how I would trade. I'd look for the top of the main peak on the chart, which here, which starts with 1. I would then have counted a second peak down, and then I would have counted a third peak down. Now, sine waves, for the main part, are always, the peaks on them are always divisible by 3. So you'd come in after 3, or you'd come in after 6, or you'd come in after 9, or you'd come in after 12. So let me show you on this trade how I would have done it. Once the third peak had bottomed out, which would be here, that is where I'd enter the trade. I'd then wait until the next peak was formed. And this is exactly what I did on this particular trade, right? I'll tell you how much I made in a minute. So here, in between this space here, between these two lines, right, that actually went up from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros all the way to 4 zeros and 3. So it actually went up, well, it actually lost a 0. So percentage wise, that went up from 0.7, that went up 3, that went up 200%. Then this is where it gets interesting, right? Once it's done its next peak, I wait until it either does a 3, 6, 9 or 12. And in this instance, right, let's do the count again. So let's count the peaks from here. So we've got 1, we've got 2, we've got 3, and this is where it gets really incredible, really amazing. The truth is simple, right? And the truth will set you free, right? And so I'm showing you something that's never ever. I've been trading for years now, and I've studied many methods. And you know, trying to trade with just the candlesticks is like trying to read the time on a clock without a clock face. These numbers are your clock face hands, right? So let me show you where I would have entered the trade here. I would have come in at the bottom of 6. Let's make that green. There we go. And I would have come out right on the top here at the next peak. And that's exactly what I did. I turned my $15,000 into $190,000 on that particular rise, right? Let me show you that this isn't a fluke. Let me now go on to Dodge, right? So here's Dodge. This is historical. So this is live what I'm doing now. So let's again use the same principle here. So from the first peak, right, so it's done its rise up to here, so we got it. This would have been the first peak, so you imagine this had been a live feed here. This has been a live feed, so if I just make that smaller now a bit for you and show you this. So let's pretend this was live as you were watching it. This is how I would have traded it. I would have put 1 here for the first high peak. I would have then counted 2. Now, as you get to learn about sine waves, you'll realize that they take different times to go from one peak to another peak. So when I mean by peak to peak, I'll show you from rise to rise. And you can work out the distance using the Fibonacci time fib, which is another video which I will show you at a later date, because that's a more advanced thing. But anyway, counting this in, I wouldn't come in yet. I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're still not there because I would wait till this was divisible by 3, so it would be 6, as we've said there. So then look what happens now. I would come in where that bottomed out after 6. Oh, let's get rid of that one there, look. And so I would have actually entered the trade right there. So let's make that a bit smaller. And so this is on Dodge. Hold on, what's going on here? There we go. So there we go. So I'd have come in there, and you can see from there I would have ridden it all the way up. I wasn't trading Dodge at the time, I was trading SHIB, as I told you. So I would have ridden that up from there all the way to here. All right, and so where would that have got us? Well, we were on 6p all the way up to 73p. Almost, what's that? There have been 1,000% gains. So that's basically how I use Newton's wave. And people are probably going to say to me now, well, when do we next jump onto Dodge? Well, I'll show you, right? So slightly giving you a slightly advanced lesson here, which I didn't particularly want to do, right? The higher the time frame, the more accurate it becomes. But as I said, I trade in the macro time frames because they're responsible. All the peaks are responsible for the big gains. So what I would do, I'd go to the month time frame in this instance. So here we go. Let me reset that. Here we go. So that's the month time frame. So let's delete everything on the screen here, and let's start our count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see it corresponds beautifully with the downward incline there, right? Look at that. And so personally for me, this isn't ripe for the picking yet, so I will wait until it does a 6, and then it comes down. So if I actually get onto a different pencil here, here we go. So if I go onto this, so I will wait for a clear. So if I make that into red or not, let's do that again. Well, at least you can tell this is live, hey? So that's good, isn't it? So if I just go onto there, make that red. So that is what I would be looking for. So I'd be looking for an obvious peak there, which would be peak 6. I would then wait for that to bottom out, and then I would enter the trade. And so there you go. That's exactly how price movement basically works. It's dictated to by a sine wave. The sine wave precedes price movement. It's responsible for price movement, and the price movement actually follows the contour of the sine wave. So there you go. That's something that you won't find anywhere else on YouTube apart from my channel. So if you want to know, right, how the real pros are making money, it's really simple. They use sine waves and they use Fibonacci timelines. As I said, the Fibonacci timeline is another video that I will do to show you how to work out exactly when the peaks are going to come to their end, i.e. whether you're going to get whether you need to come in after the 3rd, 6, 9 or 12 peaks. But in this instance, in this example, you've seen quite clearly here that it's 6 down. So listen, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video today. I wish you the best of success with your trading. If you want to learn more about Newton's wave, then just go to newtonswave.com. You can get the trading view indicator there, or just watch more of my videos and learn what makes the price movement tick, what makes it move. Listen, you take care, and speak to you soon.